Our adventures throughout the Mediterranean on a cruise ship were going very well, and we had seen some amazing places so far, including cities in Croatia, Montenegro, and Greece. Now we continued our tour through the southern Aegean Sea to one of the most popular tourist spots, Santorini. This island's official name is Thira, but many just know it as Santorini. Like many of these Aegean islands, Santorini is relatively small, making up only about 28 square miles. And the population of the island is just over 15,000 people. One of the reasons this is such a popular tourist destination was apparent the moment our ship entered the archipelago. The amazing views that you can get from the top of the cliffs facing the water. Due to the island's orientation, these cliffside cities also get amazing sunsets, some of the most beautiful in the entire Mediterranean. This island was once much larger, but a volcanic eruption occurring about 3,600 years ago completely blew out the center of the island, creating the large exposed caldera that exists today. In fact, thanks to this eruption, there is now a circular, naturally protected port on nearly all sides, and this is where all the cruise ships dock during the day. Given the sheer cliffs that drop into the sea nearly 1,000 feet at the highest point, the only way to get up to the cities is to take the long and winding road or take the cable car. Needless to say, there is no cruise port here large enough for all these ships. So we were swarmed by tender boats like a flock of seagulls going after a piece of food, all arriving to take passengers ashore. Luckily, the ride wasn't too long, and we quickly made our way to the bus and up to the first attraction we wanted to go to, the Santo Winery. Vineyards have been on this island for a very long time, and their hardy grapes have survived through several grape epidemics throughout the centuries. Because of this, the vines here are extremely old. However, the productivity is very low given the climate, but the wines are well liked throughout Greece, and growers can find it easy to make a living by charging higher prices. With our tour of the winery, we got to taste 3 wines and had some snacks. How is it?
Really good.
Do you know what kind that is?
This is, I don't know, it's a dry white wine.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, they didn't really tell us what it is, but
No.
it's pretty good. So the second wine we got is a dry red. Just like the dry white.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know what kind it is, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You like the first one or second one better?
I like the first one.
I did
very
too.
Smooth.
I did too.
Yeah.
Now, last one is a dessert wine. What'd you say it was, Catherine?
It's a naturally sweet wine from sun-dried grapes.
Oh. We'll see how that tastes.
Yeah.
The tastings were just that, very small tastings. We were a bit disappointed that we could not get a full glass of wine then, or even a water, without paying. After all, it was extremely hot outside, and the tastings were far from free. Something about this winery that didn't disappoint, however, were the amazing views. After taking a look around the shop, we got back on the bus and headed towards Aegean, which was about a 40-minute trek to the complete opposite side of the island. On the way, we passed by several of the whitewashed structures with the classic blue roofs that characterize so many of the buildings in this part of the world. Looking out the windows, it was a little bit surprising to us that people actually settled here all those years ago, given the extremely arid climate and the trouble that people currently have growing anything. It doesn't really seem like this would have been a great place to be before shipping really took hold in the modern age. Eventually, our bus rolled into Aegean and we walked around the town. Aegean is located on the far northern tip of the island, nestled comfortably on the cliffs looking over the caldera. We were so busy looking at the picturesque views here that we barely felt like we got a look at the city at all. Like the other villages here, Ia is largely a network of narrow pedestrian alleyways and endless stairways going down into the buildings of the caldera, with many of these homes and buildings actually being built into the side of the cliff. There is a beautiful little town square here, and more buildings can be found on the gradual downward slope that points towards the north. After walking around for a bit, we found a local watering hole on this slope and cooled ourselves off. We stopped to get a drink. It's just too damn hot.
Gotta cool our insides down.
Yeah. You had to get some ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's going pretty well with this hot weather. Of course, we were not really that surprised that it was hot out. After all, we were on the Greek islands in the middle of summer. However, looking back at the historical weather data online, we found that we were actually on the island on the second hottest day of the year, with a high temperature reaching over 33 degrees Celsius, which is over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. What's worse is that the winds today were nowhere to be seen. Normally, you can expect comfortable 10 to 15 mile an hour breezes throughout the day. Not today. We got back on the bus and headed towards the most busy town of the island, the capital city of Fira. The city is located directly in the center of the island and is also hanging off the caldera ledge. There are so many shops and restaurants here, and the atmosphere was so much more lively than the other places we'd visited. If you're going to Santorini and staying overnight, chances are Fira is the place you will be staying. We loved the culture of this city, and had a great time despite the sweltering heat. With our day drawing to a close, we decided to take the cable car from Fira down into the old port, where we would meet our tender boat that would take us back to the ship. The cable car is an extremely efficient and cheap way to get down to the port, but the line to go down was extremely long, and we found ourselves waiting for nearly 45 minutes. At one point, we were even tempted to take the walkway, or even a donkey down, which are really the only other ways you can get down to the port. However, we eventually made it down and back on the ship. So we're back from our trip onto Santorini. We had a lot of fun. It was pretty good. We went to a winery, and then we went to Ia, it's called, not Oya. We thought it was Oya, but it's apparently pronounced Ia, which is a little village just north of Fira, the capital. So we spent about an hour, maybe 45 minutes at the winery. It would have been nice to get a little bit more time at the winery, and our package only included tasting 3 little samples of wine. We didn't really get a full glass of wine. We did get some snacks though, which was nice and appreciated. It would have also been nice to get water though, because it was very, very, very hot today. Being in Ia was nice too. We didn't really like that we had to take a 40-minute bus ride there from the winery, and then we also had to take another about 20-minute bus ride back to Fira to then get on a cable car to bring us down to the old port so that we could get back on the ship. So it was just a lot of being in transit, but I think overall we had a good time. It was nice to see a little bit more of Santorini than just Fira, the capital city, because Fira is very, very crowded, and it's not quite what you want to see if you want to really experience more of the culture. So once we were back in our room, we could see all the sights that made Santorini such a beautiful place to be. The sunset here was amazing, and the way the light bounced off the caldera and the city above was breathtaking. As the light died away, we got some more beautiful views of the lights up in the city. It was still breathtaking, even as we made our way away from the island. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.